Okay, so we all want to motivate our kids, right? But what if, and this is a big what if, our best intentions, the things we think are helping, are actually leading us down the completely wrong path? Today, we're going to dig into the science of what really works. Ooh, this one hits home, doesn't it? It's that scene that plays out in pretty much every house, everywhere. That feeling of pure frustration. You're repeating yourself for what feels like the millionth time, and you're just wondering, is anyone even listening? It's such a universal part of being a parent. And this leads to a really tough question. What if those very tools that we lean on, the sticker charts, the praise, even the constant reminders, are accidentally undermining our kids' long-term drive? What if they're chipping away at their resilience without us even realizing it? You see, this whole daily battle for motivation, it really boils down to a fundamental choice. Every single day, we're choosing between two very different approaches to parenting, whether we know it or not. Here's a great way to think about it. Are you a puppeteer, trying to pull the strings and control your child's actions from the outside with rewards and consequences? Or are you a gardener, focused on creating the absolute best conditions for their own internal motivation to sprout and grow all by itself? All right, let's dive into that first one, the puppeteer path. This approach often uses a tool that seems so positive, so harmless, praise. But when we use it in a certain way, it comes with some pretty serious hidden costs. You know, researchers actually have a name for this: parental conditional positive regard, or PCPR for short. Basically, this is when a kid starts to feel like their parents' love, their affection, their approval, it all ramps up only when they succeed, when they get that A+ or score the winning goal. And on the surface, that sounds fine, right? I mean, of course we want to show we're proud. But the research is incredibly clear on this. When love starts to feel conditional, it kicks off this really powerful and frankly damaging psychological cycle. So here's how this whole thing plays out, step by step. First, that love feels conditional. So when the child succeeds, they feel amazing, grandiose even. But when they fail, they feel this deep, crushing shame. This up and down creates a really fragile sense of self-worth that's totally dependent on what other people think. And that leads to the final stage, where they either start avoiding challenges altogether to avoid failure, or they just compulsively overwork themselves. I mean, the researchers themselves put it perfectly. This dynamic creates a self-esteem that just swings wildly between feeling like a superstar and feeling worthless. It is an absolute emotional roller coaster, and it gets in the way of a child building a truly stable, resilient sense of who they are. Okay, so if the puppeteer path is clearly so risky, what's the alternative? Let's switch gears and talk about the gardener path. This approach builds a completely different foundation, and it's all based on the groundbreaking work of psychologist Carol Dweck. So Dweck found that people tend to have one of two core mindsets. A fixed mindset is the belief that your intelligence and your talents are just fixed. They're carved in stone. You're born with them. On the other hand, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can be grown and developed through hard work and dedication. It's really the difference between seeing yourself as a finished product versus a work in progress. And this is where you can really see the difference it makes in real life. Someone with a fixed mindset, they're going to avoid challenges because they're terrified of failing and looking dumb. They give up easily. But someone with a growth mindset, they embrace challenges because they see them as a chance to learn something new. They keep going when things get tough because they know that effort is the key to getting better. And get this, they aren't threatened by other people's success. They're inspired by it. Now, it is super important to get this next part right. This doesn't mean we just ignore results. It's not about telling your kids that winning or getting good grades doesn't matter at all. No, it's about shifting the focus. Success becomes the result of great effort, smart strategies, and sticking with it. It's not a measure of who you are deep down. Okay, that's the theory. But how do we actually do this? How do we become that gardener in our messy, busy, day-to-day lives? Let's look at some really practical strategies. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. It means helping them set small, doable goals. It means letting them feel their feelings, all of them, without us judging. It means not swooping in to rescue them from every little mistake. If they forget their homework, they face the natural consequence. The goal isn't to make life a cakewalk for them. It's to give them the tools to handle life's challenges. But wait a second. This is the big question, right? If we're not supposed to make our love feel conditional, does that mean we can't celebrate when our kids do something awesome? No, absolutely not. But it completely changes how we celebrate. This right here, this might be the single most important shift we can make. It's not if you praise, it's what you praise. The focus has to move from the person to the process. Just look at the night and day difference here. You're so smart, it sounds nice, but it sends a hidden message that being smart is a fixed thing you just are. And the flip side of that is, if I don't get this next time, I must be dumb. But praising the process, saying, wow, I love how you tried so many different ways to solve that problem, that celebrates their effort, their grit, things they actually have control over. And this chart, wow, it just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? The path to building real, lasting motivation isn't a shortcut. It's about praising their effort first, then the strategies they use, their focus, and finally, their improvement over time. Success is just the natural outcome of that whole journey. You know, this isn't some new idea. Decades ago, the renowned child psychologist Haim Jinot said exactly this. Praise should be about their efforts and what they accomplished through that effort, not about slapping a label on their personality. And that insight is more crucial today than ever before. So when you boil it all down, the choice we're making is pretty stark. Is our main goal to help our kids build an impressive resume, one that might make them crumble at the first sign of real failure? Or is our goal to help them build a resilient spirit, to raise a curious, persistent person who knows their worth has nothing to do with their last win or loss? So I want to leave you with this one last question to really think about. Years from now, when your child is grown and they're facing a huge challenge all on their own, what's the voice you want them to hear inside their own head? Is it going to be a voice of fear and judgment, worried they aren't smart enough? Or will it be a voice of encouragement, reminding them that effort is the path forward? That choice, well, it starts today.